Hello you beautiful people, welcome back to another Hiker Plays video. Today we're going to review the best DPS characters. Now, a lot of you have been asking, what are the best DPS characters? And I get this asked a lot because I think the tier list at times isn't as easy to follow. So, what we've done is we've taken out some of the DPS characters from our main tier list and thrown them into its own little sub-tier list. I am going to display that now for you guys, so you will be able to see it on your screen. Now, if you were to have a look at our tier list, you can see that right at the top we have Garp, we've got King, we have Zoro, Yamato, and Gion. I can't believe I paused there. So we've got our S tier. These are our best tier of attackers. On the second tier, you've got the A tier. These are guys that can easily probably be in the S tier as well. Very, very strong units, but all in all, they are like a peg down. B tier, we sort of move into that. These guys are okay early game, but later on they do get outshined really hard, especially by that S tier. Like, they don't even compare to the S tier. And C tier, look, if you're a new player and you started with a new sub, I wouldn't be upset. Use them for a couple of days, 6, 7, 8 days, and when you finally get a better attacker, switch them out. That's what that tier's for. Now, D tier are the units that I wouldn't touch. They're the units I wouldn't use unless you kind of have to. Imagine not hitting any C tiers. I get it. You might have to use a D tier, but typically they're used for food. Now, I am going to break this down, and I'm sorry in advance for the way the tier list looks and how unaligned everything is. I took all the images and I threw them all up, and for some reason they decided to unalign like this. But that is okay. Like, we're gonna overlook my lazy tier listing and look at our main guy in Garp. Guys, I don't think I need to explain Garp in too much detail. He is currently and probably will always be the best DPS in this game for some reason. He is ridiculous, and there's nothing they can do to nerf his kit for some reason. Gion came out, and we were like, okay, cool. Garp's finally gonna, end up killing his own team. He's just that strong. And now they've released the new dial, is it, to block that. So there you go. Now Garps can be immune, and Gion doesn't affect him. But anyway, let's digress. Let's move on to King. King is a fantastic new unit. Guys, in literally 3 days, we're going to start being able to get him, or 2 days, depending on when this video goes out. Go and get King. I think he's going to be one of the best attackers in the game. He's going to be probably the best Emperor attacker. I know we have Yamato on this list as well. But in terms of pure attackers, King is absolutely nuts, and I believe he's going to be just fantastic. Zoro, guys, if you can afford Zoro, it's on that S tier, but listen, if you can afford him, he is ridiculously worth it. If you can't afford him, it's okay. We still have Papa Garp. Garp will still carry us, and Garp is, going to outshine him still, so Garp is still our way to go. And then, if you guys watch the support video, or if the support video is coming out after this, who knows in which order I release things these days, but you will know that Gion and Yamato are both in that support video, and they also top the DPS charts. They are absolutely fantastic units, and I mean, it probably helps that they're also very good supports, which is why they sit in that S tier. They bring a lot more than just DPS to this team, and yeah, like, honestly, both of them hit ridiculously hard. You got people like Katakuri in the A tier. He could easily be S tier. If this was a PvE sort of list and we were thinking about who can hit the hardest on bosses, Katakuri would be number one. But it isn't, and therefore Katakuri will sit A tier because outside of boss hunting, there isn't much use for him. Enel, again, is sort of your B-Tech Garp. He's that guy that sort of sits behind Garp, is not quite as strong, but, is strong enough as well. So A tier for Enel. Fujitora and Kuzan, very good marine attackers. Both very, very good damage dealers, but have their own flaws in their own way, and that's why they will sit on the A tier. And lastly, we have our new hero, Brook, who, honestly, single target-wise, is like Zoro, hits very hard, but he just doesn't hit hard as Zoro, and that makes sense, because, we have a really expensive unit in Zoro. You kind of have to keep him to have his edge. And then the B tier, I mean, guys, Kid is actually really solid. Could easily be used as a frontline tank as well. I mean, typically you don't want him to tank, but you could get him to tank. Same with Mihawk, you could sort of frontline him too. And they're both very high damage dealing, like frontline bruisers. Very good characters. Boa, definitely scaling off these days. She is less and less useful and, still hits hard, but nowhere near as hard as, say, someone like an Enel. Gear 5 Luffy. Guys, I'm just going to say it. Don't waste your money on him. He just is going to sit in B tier. He doesn't bring a lot to the table. And I know the game's pushing him more and more. They're adding him into all these different bits to try and get some extra buffs. But in reality, Luffy just feels weak. And if you're going to get anyone, it has to be Zoro. And then you've got Jinbei, Shanks, and Borsellino. All of them are absolutely great attackers. But as I said, they don't quite compare to the A and the S tier. Now, if you are a player that's, trying to push the upper echelons, that S tier is really what you're gunning for. But, pick up units from the A tier by all means. As I said, for boss fighting, Katakuri is absolutely brilliant. Shall we have a quick look at some of our boys in action? So, let's go straight to King. So a lot of you are going to question why I think King is really, really strong. But, I mean, if those damage numbers don't speak to you, then I don't know what will. The fact that he also has that ability to have Divine Flame on, where he gets that 30% reduction, damage reduction, is just beautiful. I completely get that, he has that floor mechanic, which I will highlight here. So when he is in the floored state, he loses the damage reduction and he can't receive any buffs. And that is a bit of a problem. That is a major problem, in fact. But listen, guys, if he gets a kill, he will reset that, and that's fine. I'm happy with that. And on top of that, if you 12-star him, he no longer has the floor. You just need to max his Haki and 12-star him. And then King becomes an absolute machine. And let's just have a look at some of his animations. Guys, look how beautiful his animations look. We will take it off some of that high speed. When he's in this ultimate state as well, so this state, he takes no damage. He is just, for me, I think he not only looks like the best character, like in terms of like just look and animation model, I think he looks like the best. But in terms of damage, he looks like he's going to do really, really well. I think Garp is still going to out-damage him, so he's not going to replace Garp on that, top tier, but he is going to be up there for a very long time. And, I mean, guys, Yamato's damage is unreal. The fact that she is such a huge buffer, look at her, like, skills. Massive buffs. And then she also has the audacity to do that much damage. She does way too much damage for what I would call a support character. I know she's an assassin. I know she is an assassin on the side, so she is meant to do a lot of damage. But guys, her kit is way too supporty, and she does way too much damage. She is too good, and is just a must-have in almost every team comp. Also, the fact that she gives you that 25% pace up, this is something that we've been talking about. Even if you go for that 5 Marine team, technically if you take out one of the Marines and use Yamato instead, the Marine team will only give you 10% pace. This will give you 25, and it gives you all the other buffs. So she's technically better than running a 5th Marine. So, boys, I'm just saying, Yamato, absolutely great. And then, Gion, we already know what her numbers look like. She technically hits as hard as Garp, if not more, and then also has the healing to go with it. She doesn't have all the extra passive bits that Garp brings, which is all the damage ups. So by the end of it, she doesn't actually hit as hard. But, from a stat perspective, she's right up there. So, again, another fantastic support unit that does ridiculous amounts of damage. So, yeah, that's going to round up my DPS chart. I will bring the DPS list back up, so if you guys want to pause and have a look and analyze further, you can. These are the DPS that I recommend you run. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find this informative. I will link a video into how to level up DPS, or how to gear your DPS as well, to sort of stem off of this. Other than that, boys, have a lovely rest of your day. Peace.